What is it that it takes to make black folks understand that they've got to do something for themselves? I went to Kwanzaa celebration yesterday, pre-Kwanzaa celebration, at the South Shore Cultural Center, at the South Shore Country Club. What I'm saying is that that was just a gorgeous affair. When I was there, I would guess that there were 1,000 people in the theater there listening to Ron Karinga, and there were at least another 1,000 people out in the workshops and in the pavilion where there were all kind of black vendors. And what I like about the brother who put this on, Taifa Daniels is his name, that he insisted that this affair be sponsored only by black people. White folks offered to sponsor it, as they always do, you know, with their whiskey company, their cigarette companies, all of these other companies, the Quaker Oats company, all of them wanted to sponsor this. He refused to take one dime from white people. And for that, I give him accolades. I certainly tell people cold to their face, and some brothers who are national figures, I have told them that I will not come to your affair. And don't. I do not attend affairs that's sponsored by white people. I don't care how black you claim it is. I know it can't be black if you are being sponsored by Coors Beer or Budweiser or any of the other whiskey companies. It can't be black. You see, we got to straighten out some thinking. We've got to understand something. African American buying power tops 11 billion. You understand 11 billion? They're talking about in Chicago only. $11 billion. They go on to say, African Americans living in the Chicago metropolitan area earn an estimated $11 billion a year, according to a recently published report in Target Markets News. What do they spend this money on? Apparel, $800 million. Appliances, $67 million. Beverages, alcoholic, $70 million. Beverages, non-alcoholic, Pepsi, Coke, $90 million. Don't forget orange pop. Books, $7 million. Books, $7 million? Most black people don't have as many books in their houses I got on this table. And I got a whole room full of books. And not only do I have those books, I have read every book in my house. I'm short of something to read all the time. I got to go out and buy something else to read because I have read every single book in my house. And I certainly got over 1,000 books. Now, what I'm saying is $7 million for books when you spend for telephone services $326 million. For food, you spend $1.9 billion. I told Brother Omar Wali the other day that I would rather be hungry than to be without books. I can somehow deal with hunger, but I can't deal without knowledge. And the only way you can get knowledge, you cannot get knowledge from watching the television. Now, there are people who can't understand that. I have to repeat it to them 1,000 times, that you cannot get knowledge from watching television. The only way you can get knowledge is out of books. That's where it exists, is in books. Why do you think they got libraries chucked full of books? I live in Morgan Park, and at the Walker Branch Library, they have a beautiful black section, just remodeled, reopened. I asked almost every black person I know in Morgan Park, have you been to the Walker Branch Library and looked at the black book section? No. I can't understand this. You know, here's where the knowledge is, in the library, and you can't get a brother to go there. If you just have to find something real bad, and I've done it many times, you got to go to the Harold Washington, the main library. And if you really got to have something, you really got to go over to that racist University of Chicago and go to the stacks. And most black folks don't even know what the stacks are or what information there is. Every doctoral dissertation that's ever been handed in at the University of Chicago is in the stacks. Gad, all of that work that people researched and studied and stayed up nights to try to put together is in the stacks, and 99.99% of black people never even bother to check. All I'm saying is that you're going to have to get involved in mortgage banking. You're going to have to get involved in full service bank. I got a bank account. Yeah, at Chicago, you know, First National or LaSalle Tallman. Did you know that LaSalle Tallman is owned by a group of Jews from the Netherlands? And a whole lot of black people got mortgages at Tallman. And the same people, I'm talking about the descendants, who owned you and shipped you over here and financed the slave trade, the same group of Jews in the Netherlands still owns you in 1995 in Chicago, because that's where you got your mortgage. Gad, NAHAZ, I didn't know that. How come you didn't know that? You know why you didn't know that? You didn't really want to know that. You don't really want to know it now. You don't want to admit it, even though you know if you go and check, you're going to find out that what NAHAZ told you was the truth. See, that's the only thing that I say. I don't ask people to agree with me, because I know many of them don't. But I ask them to admit one thing. Did I tell them the truth? Yes, they say, yes, NAHAZ, you did tell the truth. But I don't like how you say things. See, you don't like white folks. And I don't like nobody who don't like white folks. That's sick. I'm telling black folks that somehow, if you believed in what the Million Man March was talking about, that you're going to get involved. You know, here we got in the Chicago area at least 2 million black folks. I'm talking about in the Chicago area. You know, we go all the way out to Matson. You know, from Evanston to Matson, all the way out to Maywood, back to the lake. It's at least 2 million black folks. Towns with 2 million people in it have 10 or 12 banks, 10 or 12 insurance companies, 10 or 12 savings and loans, 15 or 20 credit unions. But we, NAHAZ, sure, we in credit unions where I works at General Motors. That's sick. You letting white folks take your money and skim it and then return it to you as a mortgage on your house. Do you understand the pari-mutuel betting system? That the people who own the racetrack, they don't put up no money. When you come there and bet money, then they skim it and then they put up what the odds are. And the odds is based on what you bet. I'm talking about your money. You can't win none of their money. You can't win none of their money in the lottery. You can't win none of their money at Vegas or at Atlantic City. Only your money. Well, in the black community, it's being descended upon by white banks. All these banks.